Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pop Anime Comics here from PopAnimeComics.com and the Pop Anime Comics Lounge podcast. And my Instagram is Pop Anime Comics. And as many of you know, if you follow me, I am a big comic book and Pop Funko collector. And so I figured it's time that I broke down some of my collection, what's in my collection, what it's worth, give a little bit of background on that Pop Funko, where it came from, if it's an exclusive, its value, high, low, past 30 days. And all my stats come from PopFunkoPriceGuide.com. But I did make a promise to everybody before I continue here that I don't put affiliate links in my videos or descriptions unless you, the viewers, benefit. And I do have one from Funko.com, and they obviously sell Pop Funkos. It's right below the Instagram in the description down below. And the way it works is that I have a code. And so you copy and paste the code, and then you click the link. And then upon checkout, and you need both, on checkout, you insert the code and you will get 10% off your entire order. And particularly when you buy Pop Funkos or other exclusives or non-exclusives that Funko has on their website. So definitely check that out. Feel free to use it. It saves you 10%, and that's the entire goal here. So now to get to today's Pop Funko, we're continuing with some Saga. So obviously, just a quick rundown of Saga. I did it in my last video. I'm going to do it again. Saga came out a little while ago by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Can't make comic books without Staples, everybody. Just keep that in mind. And it's a story of how two soldiers on opposite sides basically had sex. One of them was a prisoner, and then they had conceived a child, and then they had to run away. And it's their journey of escaping, and then people are trying to track them down. And you have a variety of characters trying to track down these two people and hunt them down. And then enemies become allies, the allies become enemies. And it's a gigantic mess. and it's really well done. It's a great comic. It's on a hiatus right now. So it's kind of in a rut. But these came out a little while ago. And so they came out in like 2018. So these are fresh and new still. So what Lion Cat is, in reference to everybody else, is that he is the Will's partner, and he's a cat, and when somebody is lying, he says lying. And so that's what he does. And the Will is a bounty hunter who was tasked and paid to track down these two people called Alana and Marco and their kid, Hazel. And so there you go. That's what you got going on. And so that's what Lion Cat is. There's a few versions of Lion Cat out there. There's a Barnes & Noble version, which I will be talking about in another video. There's a PX Diamond version. There's a Gold version. There's a BAM version. And so I'm going to talk about the Barnes & Noble version in a different video. But this is the basic version of it. And it's pretty simple. It's kind of cool. It's obviously a very recognizable character from Saga because the Will is tracking them down. The Will is also very recognizable. And the fact that Lion Cat just is lying all the time. So now to talk about value with this one. So this one's value is kind of complicated. Again, I mentioned it in the first Saga video. I'm going to mention it again. Saga Pop Funkos are complicated because everybody who wants one got a Saga Pop Funko, minus maybe the Chase Will variant. But that's a different story also. But its value on the low side is $8 is what it's going for low. Its high is about $9.99, and its estimated value is about $9. So not really a expensive Pop Funko. It's still new out. Saga's not in the news right now. It's taking a year off. The artwork when it comes back is expected to be different, and Lion Cat is kind of not with the Will right now, and things have changed with the Will. Things have changed with several other characters in this series. And so that's kind of why I think that there's three reasons why this Pop Funko isn't really going for much money. I think anybody who wanted it could have got it. There was no desire for it. There's no lust for it. There was also several exclusives. There's about 3 different versions of Lion Cat. There's the Barnes & Noble version, there's the Gold version, the PX Diamond version, and then the BAM version, and then there might even be another version or 2 that I'm missing here. So clearly not, this is the first basic version. So I think that's part of it also, is that if you had to pick and choose between the 3 or 4 other versions of Lion Cat, you would naturally choose the others because they have exclusivity, they go in the dark, they got blood on their face or something, and so they got something else going on with it that's a lot cooler than this that separates it. So that's one of the reasons why. Also, I think Lion Cat, much like Isabel, which we just spoke about in a previous video, is also more of a secondary character. I mean, it's relevant, it's fun, there's comedy relief, it fills up space. The fact that Lion kind of emulates emotions, and sets a sort of tone when the Will saying something, then Lion Cat goes lying. I think that kind of adds something to it, and big crucial part, and really is relevant, but not to the degree that somebody like the Will, Marco, Alana, you could argue the Stalk, and for those who are Saga fans know what I'm talking about, have more of an impact on this. Or Prince Robot is another one that has a major impact. So I think that's something to keep in mind. And I think really the third thing, and I might have already said it, but I'm going to say it again, is that, again, anybody who wanted this got it. I mean, I think that's what it really goes down to, is that anybody who wanted it got it. And I think that any fan can pick up or could have sought after at least the very basic one. It wasn't impossible to find this. It wasn't that hard to find it. And there was plenty to find. Finding the more exclusive ones, which I'm going to talk about in another video, in particular the Barnes & Noble one, is a bit harder to find. It's a bit more complicated to find. But I think that at the end of the day, finding the one that this one, not that hard to get. And I think that's something to keep in mind, and really exhibits the point of why it's $9. And I think, much like the Isabel, I don't think that there's gonna be much money in this one in particular, at least this version of this one, because there's just nothing there. It's not an exclusive. Anybody who wants it can get it, or could have gotten it. Wasn't that hard to track down. And while Saga's a really loved comic, and it's a popular comic, and it does really well, it's not anything it's out of the box, but it doesn't have enough of a fan base where I think the supply and demand was just perfect for it. It was probably a bit oversupplied for this one. And so I think that's something to keep in mind and really keep in the back of your head, is that when we talk about trends here and trends of Saga, I think that's something to really consider, that sometimes the most basic ones are the ones that are oversupplied, and that the exclusive ones, which I'm just going to give a little bit of a spoiler, don't really fetch that much money either. And while I still think that these are young, and that's another thing that I want to touch upon, and it's a bit of a backstep here, but this is a young Pop Funko. So there are Pop Funkos of Sonic the Hedgehog, and this is going to be relevant, so stick with me for 1 second, everybody, that they're non-exclusive, but they're from like 5-6 years ago, right before Pop Funko became big. And there's a Knuckles one, and it goes for $90. And at the time, it was maybe an $8 Pop Funko. I remember seeing it briefly in like Barnes & Noble, but the reason why is because they were the old Sonic the Hedgehog Pop Funkos, and nobody knew what they were, and a bunch of people had them, kept them nice, kind of somehow fell into it, and lo and behold, 8, 9 years later, people now say, oh, I want the original Pop Funkos. So this is still young, and while there are many options, it's something to keep in the back of your head, is that if Saga continues, so they're on issue 50 plus at this point, and they're taking a hiatus, but if Saga continues and Lion Cat remains relevant in that time period and is a part of it, and all of a sudden we get 100 issues, or we get 200 issues, or we get 150 issues, all of a sudden this is relevant, and people could say, oh wait, I'm now into Saga. Oh my god, how did I not get into this? Oh my god, I want a Lion Cat Pop Funko. I need to complete my collection. I want this, thing. And so that's something to keep in the back of your head too, is that at a certain point, it can become very, very relevant because of the length of Saga and the relevance of the character. So I think that's something to keep in mind with this. But I don't know. I just don't think that there's much money in this one either. Much like the Isabel, I just think that it's oversupplied, at least with the basic one. of this. And that's something to keep in mind, that typically sometimes if you see in a store that they have 20 of the same Pop Funko and the Pop Funko came out 4 days ago, it might be an indicator to do one of two things. A, nobody knows that it's there, which could very well happen. It's happened with My Hero Academia, and that's a different story for a conversation that's coming up sooner rather than later, and we'll readdress that in a video. And maybe there's a restock going on in December. Just throwing it out there for anybody who's a fan of My Hero Academia. There you go. But that could be one sign, or the other sign it could be is that nobody's interested in it, and that it might take a while to move all 20 of them. And so that's another thing, and that people say, well, look, there's no value in it. And so that's something to keep in mind when you're going shopping and trending and you see 20 of the same Pop Funko after a week in Hot Topic, or a week in Barnes & Noble, or a week in GameStop. You see 20 of the same one, or a week in Target. You know, that might be an indicator of one or two things, and you got to figure out which it is, because it could be either or. And I've seen both, and I've done both. So that's something to keep in mind. I think that's what this one is that anybody who wants it could have got it. It's not worth much, and it's going to be very much speculation to see what happens with this price in the next year or 2 years or 3 years, especially when Saga comes back in roughly 7 months. So I think that's something to keep in mind. But anyway, I'm once again going to remind everybody of my affiliate link. It's simple. You got to just click the link, copy and paste the code. You got to do both at the same time and use them at the same time within a certain time period in order for it to fully work. And if you do, on your checkout, you get 10% off your order, and it's going to be fantastic. This way you get more money to spend on Pop Funkos, which is great because everybody wins. So that's the affiliate link. It's down below. Just follow the instructions at the start of the video if you missed it and what was going on with it or you forgot. Please feel free to use it. It's meant to be used. Don't feel remorse or guilty that I want it to be used. Please use it. And if you're not interested in that and you don't want to save 10%, nobody's going to force you. That's totally up to you. But you can definitely follow us on Twitter if you'd like to support what we do here and these videos and other things that I do. My Twitter is @PopAnimeComics. You can also check out the website, popanimecomics.com. You can follow us on Instagram, PopAnimeComics, for all sneak previews of my Pop Funkos and comic book stuff that's coming out that I'm going to be talking about. So that's a really good place because all my Pop Funkos are up on Instagram. I have a collection of 100 plus at this point. So if you're looking for a bunch of videos to come out, definitely Instagram is the place to go. The podcast is Pop Anime Comics Lounge. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio. It's free to listen to, so if you're looking to nerd out and listen to cool interviews on your way to work, that's a great place to start. And anything that's Pop Anime Comics is mine, unless I owe you money, and in that case, I don't know you, and I'm not going to answer. I'm just going to pretend you don't exist. Lying. See, look what I just did here. But in all seriousness, though, it's always appreciated that everybody watches these videos. I love talking about this. I love educating people. I love providing information. And my goal is to help people and figure out what their Pop Funkos are worth, whether they're buying, selling, looking for certain ones, whether they go to a convention, and so that they have an idea so their money goes further. It's a big principle of mine that I want to make everybody's wallet go as far as possible, so that you don't get swindled, or you at least don't get swindled too badly. And that's my goal with these videos. So feel free to like this and talk and comment down below. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video to talk about more Pop Funkos and to continue talking about Saga.